Hey there, welcome. This is Christian here, and in this training video, I want to share with you an analogy that I believe can totally transform and change your relationship. You see, a lot of people, when they hear others talk about relationship in the form of, well, masculine and feminine and the difference between men and women, sometimes it can create a real edge, or it can trigger the part that goes, well, we have the masculine and the feminine inside all of us, and therefore it doesn't serve to put in a box these two labels, because it's kind of stereotypical and it's labeling, and it's also limiting at some level because there's so much crossover. So what I'd like to start with is just to say, I get deeply that we have in us both masculine and feminine qualities. Masculine and feminine qualities move inside of us. Of course they do. I get that. And yet, just because you have the ability to travel doesn't mean you don't have a home where you reside and you feel safe and you feel like most at ease. So if you think of it as an energetic spectrum, and on one side you have masculine and one side you have feminine, and we all have the capacity to move to both of those ranges within each and every single one of us, I bet that if you were to feel and just take a moment to tune in and ask yourself the question, where do I feel most at home? Not where do I spend most of my time, because in fact you may be somebody who is quite feminine in your essence, but you spend a lot of time running a more masculine energy, perhaps because of your job and your work or whatever. So it's not a question of where do you spend most of your time, it's where do you feel most at peace, most in your joy, most relaxed, and most yourself. And you'll notice that you'll be somewhere on here or somewhere in between. So don't confuse the place that is your natural home with me putting in a box one way or the other. And I say this only because I really want the analogy I'm about to share with you in this next clip to land. Because with it, this can change your entire life. I'm not going to say too much about it because I just want to go straight into the clip. It's really short. It's only 2 minutes actually, where I'm going to share this amazing analogy. But in it, it reveals so much about the problems with today's relationship. This is what all couples ought to know. So without further ado, let me go straight into the analogy, straight into the clip, and then we'll come back and talk about it in just a moment. Here we go. From a woman's perspective, well, I should be careful what I say here. I'm reliably informed that from a woman's perspective, yeah, what I don't want you to know about me is what I'm reliably informed is that from a woman's perspective, a woman who is deeply in her feminine wants a man who is full and not afraid to go to parts of himself that are deemed unsafe or unavailable. That they want a man fully present, in other words. And a man can only be present if he's present to all of himself. And that's called embodiment. You can only be present when you're landed deeply on the ground. So if there's any part of me that I don't want you to see, then I can't be present to it. And if I'm not present to it, I'll be ambiguous in my energy. And women, as they tell me, say that's very unattractive and very difficult to connect with. Because part of what they need is presence and a container to hold their enormous flow. So men are like the riverbanks, holding the movement of the water, because the water is the feminine and the masculine is the holding of that. But if you're not present with all of who you are, the riverbanks crumble and you flood. Yes? Likewise, if you are a woman who doesn't own her full shadow, and you have this man who holds a strong riverbed ready for this gushing, enormous river, and then suddenly there's this little stream. This little pissy little... And you're like, I'm ready for you! I was like... So we both got to do the work. There's no getting around it. Now, it doesn't get clearer than that, does it? Thinking of the masculine as this riverbank and the feminine as this river, it's so important to see that both the strength of the riverbank and the force of the flow of the river both need to be present for an alive system to take place. And what I've found is often the riverbank or the masculine force only is as big as required by the feminine flow. In other words, if a feminine force is only coming out at 1%, then the masculine only holds 1%. And from that perspective, often, let's just say a woman in that place may yearn for a man to hold more because she feels, if only my man could hold more, I can give more. And it becomes like a chicken and the egg scenario, isn't it? Because they're thinking, why doesn't he just become more of a presence that could hold me, feel me, get me? Yet they're in training to what is being given in that moment. And if they're given more, they hold more. Yet there's a certain amount of trust that's required to say, do I dare show more in fear that I will be held? Because what if I show more and then it floods? And in fact, there isn't a holding and the riverbanks break. Yeah, the tragedy and the fear of that is quite real. So then the idea is always, well, if my man can just show up, then I can be the woman that I am. And the man may be saying, well, actually, if she could only be more radiant, more juicy, more there, then at least I'll have something to hold. And you know what? I've seen both occur. So it's something where we both need to do the work. You know, unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many push-ups I do, it doesn't benefit you. And it doesn't matter how many push-ups you do, it doesn't benefit me. So we've both got to do the work. And it's when we both have an intention to become more of who we are in our unique essence, that's when it becomes very, very important. And that's when it works. Now, you know, when we talk about man, woman, masculine, feminine, as I said at the beginning of this video, I don't want to make you feel like you're being put into a box here. Like you have to choose, am I masculine, am I feminine? And if I'm masculine, am I not feminine, and all of that? Because we do have it all within us. And what I found is, if you find yourself more in the masculine than you do in the feminine, you're more likely to attract and have a relationship that works with that polarity reversed, so that you can attract a woman more in her feminine. That's just the way that the law of attraction in romantic relationships works, is that positive and negative charge, like in a battery, they come together. You put a positive and a positive together, it creates a bit of repulsion. Not to say that you can't be great friends with, if you're a masculine man and you want to be with other masculine men, of course, no, the brotherhood there is very much powerful, as it is with the sisterhood. It's just that romantic polarity works best where a masculine sexual essence is matched with a feminine sexual essence. That seems to be very, very powerful. But it's not always right for everybody. Some people who find themselves quite neutral and don't really find themselves moving on one side of the scale or the other end up actually being quite happy being in a relationship and partnership with somebody else who's also very, very neutral, or can have access to both ranges. So there is no rightness or wrongness or better or worse or more healthy or less healthy. It's just an analogy. It's a place to come from. And I think that analogy holds true because I feel that even if we didn't have a partner, it's important that we have within ourselves a safe place to land where we do feel we are and we have the capacity to be our own riverbank, and we have the force of energy that can move through it. In other words, let's forget about relationship completely and just say, on our own, it's so important that I have that stability, that groundedness and containment to hold my life in a place of clear direction and longing around moving forward and having that drive to achieve my goals and have what it is that I want. And at the same time, I need to connect to the life force, the essence of my juice, my sexuality, my emotion, my energy, my chi, and allow that to move through. And if that doesn't have the containment, it's going to come out in different directions. It's going to come out unfocused. It's going to have spillage. It's going to be leaky. I'm not going to have good boundaries. So even though we're talking about this as a couple-related experience, the individual empowerment of you having that clear masculine and feminine together is actually just as important, and if not important, to do first. That we must have that. Otherwise, we go into a relationship from a place of imbalance and unwholeness or disintegration, I would say. So this is a powerful, powerful piece of awareness to take home in your life. And I really want to hear about how this is for you. So in the comments section below, share with us, how do you feel? What moved? What touched you? And what questions does it bring up in you? And where does it take you in your own life in terms of as a process as you take this medicine in? And also I want to share with you that I'm doing some broadcasts coming up, some live webinars, which I think you're really going to enjoy on the topic of relationships, specifically sacred sexuality, heart-centered communication, and how you can use couples to heal at a really, really deep level. And these complimentary webinars, as I said, they're free of charge. They're coming up real soon. I'm going to be filming from my Love, Relationships and You couples retreat. And you're going to have a chance to kind of peek behind the curtains and have a look to see how I coach and what I'm doing with these couples that are changing their lives. And of course, not just their life, their kids' lives and their extended families as well. It's really, really inspiring. And I know that you're going to walk away with a lot of insights and just tools to take your relationships further. And even if you're single, I mean, how valuable is it to know how to have a successful relationship, because that's going to set you up for attracting the right man or woman when they come into your life. So to register for that free training, all you need to do is click on the link below, and that will take you to a page with all the details. As I said, it's completely free. It's coming up real soon. We don't do this very often. So please register now so you don't miss this amazing opportunity. I can't wait to share it with you. Again, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.